All right. Okay. Now, all I did for the patches is put safety pins on the back to make them from patches into finger puppets, right? Mm. But I'm missing the unicorn already. Now, the unicorn can be male or female, that don't really matter, right? But since the fox and the okay. Mm, mm, mhm. Now the weird thing though also is uh, Hollywood, there he is, does not recruit like sports teams where they have talent agents to go to a game or something. Plus, you either need to be in the minor leagues or again college basketball or football or whatever, right? To even get your foot in the door, right? Well, I never had those opportunities, right? And this is just me talking. Now, the Bible doesn't look at being fat as a bad thing. In fact, in Psalms 90 and 91 and even 92, if you want to read all three, or 89, 90, and 91, whatever you want to do, right? You can even read the whole Psalms, but no. A lot of people don't understand, though, that it's all about who you know, right? I don't know nobody in Hollywood. They don't know me. I'm just someone they're not sure can even fit into their little limelight, right? Even. Now, I had one kind of weird hit with the 5 octave video, but that's just, a joke video. The whole point is, right, the only reason it did anything is I did it 50-50, right? I did like 3 octaves, not 5, right? And the reason for that is what, right? To see if you care, want to help people for real, right? Who you don't know, right? Though nobody knows anyone, right? For real, for real. That's why when people read the Bible, like he'll say again, right? Just a novel or a myth, even, right? They're not going to take it seriously, especially scientists or, because you can't see that which made you. But how do you know you're a design thing, right, or not? Well, you have parts, right? Does not a watch have different parts in it, right, that proves it has a designer? Right? Well, your fingernails and your skin are different. Right? Your fingernails grow as long as you're alive. Your skin too. Everything's fine, right? But when you die, either from a weapon or an attack or an accident or some kind of weird, unusual thing happens to you, usually a car wreck or a 3-story fall can kill someone. I'm in a wreck at 16 and I'm out of the hospital in 2 days. Now, the weird thing is, my stepbrother, who was in the other side of the car, the passenger side, wasn't hurt at all. But guess who was? Me. But guess how? I got a few scratches from the windshield collapsing on my head, I guess, right? But the problem is, right, I got the steering wheel in front of me, right? My stepbrother don't have nothing in front of him but the glove box, right? Right. But still, if we wreck the car, he at least has to put up his hands, right? And should have cuts on the back of his hands or something, right? To stop the window from falling on him, right? See, I'm not thinking about it then. I'm lucky I even survived the damn wreck. I'm not worried about it, right? But then in the Navy, I fall 3 stories as well, and I'm injured worse, right? So I go back and look over my x-rays, and it looked like someone hit me more in the back of the head. Or the front of the head to the back of the head. Because even my C1 ain't normal. Nor is my C3 and C4. They're pushed in like someone hit me in the back of the head and collapsed it into my it's so weird. No x-ray I looked at even matches it, right? And it's about 2 centimeters lower, both the C3 and C4, than the normal, what's the word I'm looking for? Symmetry of the spinal cord, right? And the vertical vertebra. Everyone else spinal vertebra is even. In other words, it's symmetrical and it is evenly spaced with the bones. Right? They're all the same height, pretty much. Right? Unless you're in a wreck, right? Now, the other weird thing is any kind of spinal cord injury, right, takes 6 weeks for the bones to even heal, right? Guess how long I'm in the hospital? Less than 2 days, even, right? I go in on Sunday, I'm out by Tuesday. In the afternoon before 2 p.m., right? I'm in the hospital by 6:30, right? And that's all I know about it. Now, before that, I was a Christian. And after that, I remained a Christian. And like everybody, I go out to church on Sundays, but I did have a dream, right, where I see this throne, and a light's on the throne, and between me and the throne is a kind of cloud, right, kind of a mist, right. Now I see the light itself because I'm standing right in front of it, right. There's no man on the throne. God's not a man, Christians. Nor is it the Son of Man. That creates a problem with you and Jesus, even though he's born of a woman who needed a man, right? See, this applies scripturally somehow to Jesus too, right? Well, the Gnostics think this could mean he's androgynous, right? Well, what's androgyny? Well, that's someone who's fully male and female. A hermaphrodite has XY and XX genes, right? Unlike us, who are XX or XY. And what that means is the sperm, instead of having X or Y, has X and Y. And the egg, instead of being one X or the other X, is either XX or XO. Which again, right, that's the female side versus the male. Now, I don't know if there's Y sperm or X sperm or anything more than that, because it takes the hermaphrodite to produce a hermaphrodite. Male and female produce what? Male and female. Male and female. Christians. So that means there's three genders. But who are they? Where does the hermaphrodite come from? Right. If it's a human being, that is one to produce one. The angels in heaven, dummy, from Genesis chapter 6 and the fall itself. Now, if Satan is resurrected after millennial reign, he had to what? Die. When did he die? In Eden. Ask Ezekiel 31. How did he die? Death by drowning. Right. He drowned himself in the ocean or seas. Right. Hello? It's all in your Bible if you read it all. See, I've been going out to churches for years. But guess what they do? Selectively show you the Bible. They more encourage you to read it on your own than really answer any serious question you have. One serious question is, did Adam and Eve have a belly button? Since God formed them and they weren't born. Literally. Well, if they're made as if they were yin, right, a human being, right, when God took Eve out Adam and made her, right, from him, right, meaning taking the XX factor from the XY factor in hermaphrodite, removing the ovaries and fallopian tube, both from the side, right? The flesh came from the side. Why? It came from the feet so that Adam couldn't lord over her, nor from the head so that he can be taller than her or shorter than her, but from the side so that they can be equal and two from one. Right? A lot of people forget this because why? They were taught a half-truth by Constantine, right? And the Orthodox Christians. Well, there was a hidden group called the Gnostics. For the first 200 to 300 years of Christianity, they're talking about things, right, that the Orthodox don't like. Quite frankly, right? And one of those things is that Eve was raped by the eons, or gods, right, or fallen ones, right? And they planned to seduce her, but not only have natural sex with her, but butt sex with her. They said they knew her abominably and naturally, right? Well, that kind of makes sense that in day 6, Adam and Eve became one flesh, meaning they had what? Sex, right? Exactly. And then in day 7 is when they sinned, right? Exactly, right. So anyway, the point is, I don't know nobody in Hollywood. I'm disabled. I'm home alone, right? I don't mess with children, but I see other adults doing cartoons on TV. Right? Adults and Mel Blanc voiced all the Looney Tunes. They are adults. Idiot. They're not children. And I heard Mel Blanc also did the female characters, even Granny. And Tweety Bird, right? He's called the man of 1,000 voices, right? Well, I can kind of do that too, right? But I don't get no appreciation, it seems, right? Of course, I gotta make finger puppets out of iron-ons, right? But the reason I did is they're not licensed images, right? So you can put an iron on anything, right? If you put 2 safety pins in it, it becomes a finger bullet. Right? And that's not illegal because these images aren't licensed images, right? And they're typical, both fantasy and reality animals. Foxy is just a cute little fox. Nothing special about it, right? The unicorn is just the head of the unicorn, right? Which works for a finger puppet. And the same with the tiger. Right. It's not complicated, people. But no one's targeting anyone. Even adults watch Adult Swim sometimes, even on the Cartoon Network, right? Now, I tried to record Bird Girl last night, but I don't know if I got it because we were having some weather problems in Georgia. It's kind of raining, though, summertime. In the summertime when the weather is hot. I think that's Mungo Jerry. Or somebody. Let's see. There she is. Let's see if I got the episode. Part of the recording, I don't know.
You could look for 1,000 years and never find it.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So it recorded. That's why I just did a little voice, see if it worked right. Now, I used to be thin like Bruce Lee, right? Before I fell. Mm-hmm. For 24 years, even in the Navy, even before the Navy, I managed to keep myself thin, right? But then I fell 3 stories, right? Now, I'm what's called an EMS, an emergency minister system, right? To try and prepare you for our future possible nuclear war. Now, the reason I had the dream is in the Bible, the 2 witnesses stand before the God of the earth, right? Well, that's half of it, right? God is also the God of heaven, right? In earth. It made both. Now, there are creatures that are called celestial creatures, which are many, but you can't see them, right? Because they live in the 4th dimension, maybe, right? Now, if the angels are acting like they're from a star system or something, they're lying to you, scientists and alien hunters. But they are extraterrestrials, meaning they came from a different reality and are trying to trick us into thinking they're from a planetary system in another part of the galaxy, which ain't impossible, but it might be to more deceive us than tell us the truth, right? So if you're from a different dimension, in order to get back to that dimension, like in the story in the Bible about Jacob's ladder, you need a way there and a way back. Now, in the terrestrial universes, which is what we're called, right? And that includes Andromeda, the Milky Way, and all the other galaxies, right? And universes. Well, the thing is, the word uni means one, right? Now, these other galaxies are still a star system, right? Composed of billions and trillions of stars, right? In fact, God told Abraham, look at the stars in heaven, and your seed shall be as them, right? Or your offspring. Now, the Bible doesn't use direct sexual language as would 50 Shades of Grey, for example, today, right? It uses more metaphors, right? It even calls your works fruits, right? And sex fruits, right? Be fruitful and multiply. And subdue the earth, it told us, right? Even if we destroy the planet with nuclear wars or neutron bombs again, right? Because they may have destroyed it in India as well. Before the flood again, right? Now, the weird thing is that city in India where they talk about it was flooded. And even they know of the flood, right? That the earth was flooded. All over the world, even in South America, they have a myth of the flood, right? In North America, right? All cultures do. It could have also something to do with the ice age that they found out about. Also, time to God is longer. If 1,000 years passes here, right, it could still be just a day or even shorter than that to the Lord. Now, we can have either 30,000 year days, we don't know. To 28 to 30, somewhere in there, right? And this, they were told, will be shortened, but how much, right? Well, we're sitting more, right? In day 6, the reason time went by so smoothly for Adam and Eve in Eden, right, is the conditions were easier on them until day 7, right? Now, if you follow Moses' logic, after the sin, Adam lived 930 years, according to him, right? Well, they're in day 7 when they sinned with Satan. What year did they sin in? If 1,000 years is as a day, right? 70, right? So that would be 6,070 years if it's a literal 1,000 years. If it's more than that, say a day is equal to an hour, and 1,000 years is as a day, right? And say 30 days makes a full day to God, right? Because see, not only is there days, right? There's weeks, months, and then years, right? And there are seconds and minutes, and then hours in a day as well. And then there are hundreds of seconds if you want to use a stopwatch. And then tenths of seconds then, right? And there can even be thousands of seconds, and that's just quicker time, right? Even in music, you have what's called a time signature, right? It's usually 4/4. What that means is a quarter note in each measure gets a beat, and there are 4 beats per measure, or 4 notes, depending on the notes you use. Right? Now, a whole note is 4 beats per measure. A half note is 2 beats per measure. A quarter note is 4 beats per measure. An eighth, which is, again, you go from quarter to eighth, right, is half of that, right? So that's how many notes per measure? 8. From 4 to 8. And a 16th note, right, is how many? Well, there's 4 notes, so that's 16, right? So I call it a 16th note or an 8th note, right? Now, 32nd, right, that's really hard to really quick, right? And it's hard to do. Now, I'm a fan of rap and beatboxing, right? But the thing is, even the fat boys, right? One guy is singing, one guy is beatboxing, and one guy might be in control of the music. I don't know, right? Or two guys could be beatboxing even, right? I'm one person, right? I have to beatbox, and if I sing and sing, right? Yeah. All right. To even do that, I gotta what? I gotta what? Beatbox and sing. That's more complicated. I'm not even using dubbing, which means they put theirs on the track, right? That means they can either have studio like equipment when all I got is a computer, and if I record on it, I gotta record one track at a time, right? I can't even play two tracks, right? Either, unless I do what, right? Use other recording devices, right? To record the different sounds and rewind it somehow, right? To where I eventually can play it on the same track, right? Which is very complicated. But in Hollywood and New York, they have what's called the soundboard. Now, it's rumored that Prince did all the instruments on his album. And the way he did that is each soundboard has 7 tracks. But then it has what's called the master reel, right? So you take your 7 tracks, you record each instrument, then you combine it on the master reel. And you're editing it all together, right? Now, I'm not saying they're bad editors. They're great editors, actually. That's why some people wonder if they're even singing sometimes and using auto-tune, right? Not saying everybody has to. Not saying everybody don't, right? Now, rappers are more known for auto-tune, right? Than, say, Dolly Parton. Dolly Parton probably really sings. Why? She's a right. She can sing, right? Even though she's a country singer, my chorus teacher didn't like country singers himself. It don't mean I don't, right? But like I said, I tried to submit some songs even to this songwriting group, right? And try to get my songs made into something you might hear on the radio, right? But I didn't have the money for it all, right? See, another thing is you gotta pay as you go along, right? I ain't got no money in the day. I ain't got no money now. But anyway, y'all have a good morning, and that's part of the point of anyone trying to do anything in Hollywood, right? You gotta know people, right? Some people say you gotta blow people. I don't know what that means, right? But I heard that too.